Imagine a universe where there's only war. No peace, no hope, just an endless, unrelenting battle for survival. A galaxy so vast, so ancient, and so merciless that the very concept of good guys is meaningless. This is Warhammer 40,000. This isn't Star Wars, where heroes rise to save the day. This isn't Star Trek, where diplomacy and reason prevail. No, this is the grim darkness of the far future, where empires are built on mountains of corpses, and even the noblest warriors are drenched in blood. But what exactly is Warhammer 40k? Where did it come from? And why has it captivated millions across the world? Whether you have never touched a miniature or only heard whispers of space marines and chaos gods, this is your entry point. Welcome to Warhammer 40k for beginners. At its core, Warhammer 40k is a tabletop game. Players build and paint armies of miniatures, then battle each other using dice, rulers, and rulebooks. But over the last 35 years, Warhammer 40k has evolved far beyond that. It is now a vast multimedia empire spanning novels, video games, animated series, and soon, even a live-action show produced by Henry Cavill. Yet, the true soul of Warhammer 40k lies not in its models or mechanics, but in its lore. This is one of the most expansive and detailed sci-fi settings ever created. An endless tapestry woven with ancient alien races, genetically engineered super soldiers, and a terrifying cosmic force known as the Warp. To understand Warhammer 40k, you must first understand the universe is set in, and that universe is hell. Warhammer 40k is set in the 41st millennium, the far distant future where humanity has conquered the stars, and is now desperately trying to hold onto its crumbling empire. At the heart of this galactic nightmare is the Imperium of Man, ruled by the immortal godlike emperor, who, fun fact, is actually dead but it's still barely clinging to existence on a massive golden throne, sustained by the daily sacrifice of thousands of human souls. Yeah, it's that kind of universe. The Imperium is an oppressive, theocratic, and brutal empire that values war above all else. To its rulers, individual lives don't matter, only the survival of humanity as a whole. Billions live and die on factory worlds, their entire existence devoted to feeding an unstoppable war machine. Faith is law, dissent is heresy, and the only certainty is that sooner or later, everyone is conscripted to fight and die. But humanity does not stand alone in the stars. The galaxy of Warhammer 40k is teeming with other factions, each with their own agendas, their own nightmares to offer. The Space Marines, the Emperor's elite warriors, genetically enhanced super soldiers clad in massive power armor. Each chapter has its own identity, traditions, and dark secrets. The Adeptus Mechanicus, a bizarre cult of machine-worshipping cyborgs who believe that technology is divine. The Astra Militarum, ordinary humans, billions strong, sent to die in endless wars. Their lives are cheap, their deaths inevitable. The Eldari, an ancient dying race of space elves whose arrogance nearly doomed the galaxy. They cling to survival, manipulating fate itself to stay one step ahead of destruction. The Orcs, giant green-skinned brutes that live for war. Their weapons work because they believe they do. Their existence is a joke, and the punchline is violence. The Tyranids, a monstrous swarm of alien locusts, devouring entire planets in their endless hunger. They cannot be reasoned with. They will never stop. Chaos, the true nightmare of the 40k universe. Chaos is corruption, madness, and destruction incarnate. The Chaos Gods twist reality, turning men into monsters and feeding on suffering itself. They are the Imperium's greatest enemy, and a threat to all life in the galaxy. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. Warhammer 40k isn't just about giant battles and cool-looking armor. It's a satire, a reflection of the darkest aspects of human nature. It asks a simple yet terrifying question. What happens when an empire sacrifices everything for survival? This is a universe where there are no true good guys. The Imperium of Man is brutal and oppressive, but it is the only thing standing between humanity and annihilation. The forces of chaos offer freedom, but at a cost too horrific to comprehend. Even the so-called noble alien races are ruthless in their own ways, willing to commit atrocities in the name of survival. In Warhammer 40k, hope is a myth, only war is eternal, and yet the battles rage on, because in this universe survival is the only victory that matters. But if Warhammer 40k is so bleak, so merciless, why do so many people love it? The answer is simple. because it is one of the most fascinating, richly detailed, and unapologetically grand sci-fi settings ever created. This is a universe that revels in excess, where everything is pushed to its absolute extreme. The Imperium isn't just a dystopian empire, it's the dystopian empire. A nightmarish vision of bureaucracy, religious fanatism, and militaristic oppression stretch across a million worlds. The Space Marines aren't just soldiers, they are godlike warriors, living weapons-clad in armor the size of tanks, capable of tearing through entire armies on their own. The battles are not fought over mere territory, but for the fate of existence itself. And at the heart of all, it's humanity. Desperate, fragile, and yet impossibly resilient. But beyond the spectacle, Warhammer 40k is a story about survival in a universe that does not care if you live or die. A universe where the only thing more terrifying than the enemies outside are the forces lurking within. Where even the greatest warriors can fall not from battle wounds but from whispers in the dark, corrupted by forbidden knowledge, lured by the promise of power, or simply ground into dust beneath the endless march of war. And yet, for all its horrors, there is something undeniably epic about this world. It is a setting where legends are forged, where heroes and villains alike are larger than life, and where every battle feels like the end of the world. Because in Warhammer 40k, every war is the end of the world, for someone. A guardsman standing alone against an oncoming horde, knowing he will die but holding his ground anyway. A space marine making a last stand, not because he expects to win, but because duty demands it. An inquisitor sacrificing entire planets to stop a single demon, because the alternative is even worse. These are the stories that define Warhammer 40k. Tales of defiance, sacrifice, and the ever-flickering ember of hope, buried beneath a mountain of despair. This universe is brutal, it is cruel, it is unforgiving, and yet it is utterly mesmerizing. A setting so vast, so deep, that you could spend years exploring its lore and still only scratch the surface. Whether you love it for the sheer spectacle, the rich history, or the grim thought-provoking themes, it is a universe that sticks with you. A universe where no matter how dark things get, someone somewhere is still fighting. Because in Warhammer 40k, to exist is to struggle, and the moment you stop fighting, you are already dead. Now you have a glimpse into the grim darkness of the far future, but we've only scratched the surface. In the next episode, we'll take a deep dive into the Imperium of Man, the empire that holds humanity together through fear, fire, and faith. If you want to keep unraveling the mysteries of Warhammer 40k, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. And if you're already a fan, drop a comment. What was your first introduction to 40k? Until next time, remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.